everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Metal Mastermind, first episode. What the heck?
What's up, guys? First of all, I just want to say thank you, Liam. I see you're on Acoustic. You guys are on. Thank you so much for joining. I know we got several more coming on here, so I just wanted to give you a quick shout out for being the first ones on this show here.
Yes, Acoustic. Liam, love it. Love to see you all here. We're going to talk about some really awesome content today. Mainly being that why social media is not enough for your band and why you need an online presence with your own website. This is a real, important topic, especially today. Jason and I, we've been, studying a bit of marketing over the past couple of years, trying to work on our own music and trying to find solutions that work in a modern era, right? So let's talk a little bit about, let's introduce ourselves, Jason. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and then I'll tell a little bit about myself, and we can get the audience to kind of warm up to who we are and this sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Ken, for being on, man. We've made a great partnership here. This is really excited about this. This is awesome. But I know a lot of you guys online right now know who I am because you're coming over from my guitar channel. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Stallworth. I have been a solo recording artist, technically since 2013 when I released my first album. So I've got about four albums and one single out now. And my genre is of course is metal, mainly hard rock and heavy metal. This last album I put out last year was venturing more into the melodic death metal, meets thrash metal kind of thing with a 7 string, that more death metally style, but with thrash riffs, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Now I've been playing music since God, I don't want to say this, 1989. It's a long time ago. I'm an old man, but yeah, and what I want to say to you guys real quick, based on my experiences, no matter where you're at, it's never too late to start. Starting young is awesome. You get an edge, and that's good. So if you're young watching this, welcome. Stick with this stuff. Stick with us. But if I'm in my mid 40s now, and I'm just now starting to live my dream, so to speak. So if you're
Fantastic.
at my age or even older, keep at it. Keep at this stuff.
Love it, man. Hey, what's up, CG? And the Faceless. Yes, we got a couple people who are familiar
Oh,
with Jason
nice.
Stallworth.
Yes.
And this is amazing, guys. Jason, it's kind of hilarious because you've been playing metal longer than I've been alive. So I was born in 1992, so I'm a millennial. But Jason and I, we clicked the moment when we met each other while we were studying this marketing stuff. We were using Savvy Musician Academy. Some of you may have heard of it. Essentially, it's just a guide to help artists create an independent presence online, and we want to extend that knowledge to you guys in the metal community because we're really all about metal and hard rock and trying to get this stuff going. So we wanted to kind of tailor to that because we feel there's so many things in this world that are important to understand, and one of that is just being smart about how you approach your business. And in this industry of metal, independent metal to be more specific, we see that there's a big trend going in this direction of online. But there are a couple of things that we have to keep in mind as we do that, right? Now, I'm Ken Candelas. I've been in music, honestly, since I was 16. So that's about 2008. So
I
I've
suck at math.
yeah. So I've been somewhere around that era of I grew up with Dream Theater with when I first like listened to Dream Theater I was just like really into it. I'm a big like prog rock and stuff kind of guy. I love Gentle Giant, all that good stuff. But when we get into like metal, Dream Theater and Mike Portnoy was the biggest inspiration to me when I first started. Probably for a lot of teenagers when they hear Dream Theater, they're always just like all hyped up
The
on
Choo Choo
their
Man, yeah.
energy and stuff like that. But when I was listening to Dream Theater and I was exposed to other bands like Symphony X and Epica, those were the things that really catapulted me. Now I also grew up with a big cinematic upbringing. My brother loves movies, and he actually worked at a movie theater at an early age of 18, and he just began to build his career within the movie theater industry. And along that time, he would always be buying movies. And my brother's 10 years older than me. So while he was 18, I was 8, and I was just watching movies that he would always bring, or I'd go to the movie theaters. He would get us into the theaters with the family. So watching movies was a big part of my upbringing. And I always loved listening to the film scores. So my music is actually, I call it cinematic metal. You can find it with Homeric, that's the band. And this sort of vibe is a little bit more like watching a film, but not really a film. You're listening to almost like a film, but with metal, like really awesome, like uh, progressive and melodic death metal also involved. So that's kind of a little bit about who I am. I really love this genre ever since I heard Disturbed at early age of 10, Lamb of God. These were the sort of catapults, and then Dream Theater was what took me from here to like here in metal. Really love that, and I use that kind of music to develop my performance technique. I'm a drummer. Jason, right? You're a guitarist, so
Yeah.
we
Yeah, it comes
actually
together.
we've actually collaborated on some music here, including on my upcoming Homeric album, which is I love Jason's guitar playing. What a shredder, dude!
I'm excited about that album, and I hope I'm not. I hope you're okay with me saying this, but we've also got Michael Romeo coming on there playing like a solo, right?
Yeah, yeah, man.
In Symphony
I
X.
met Mike, from Symphony X through a buddy of mine who's his guitar tech, Bill Ahern,
Nice. Yeah.
and I've just been in the talks with him, and Mike is, looking forward to hearing more of this project and working on it. He's already told me that he's interested in contributing to it, so which is awesome.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
we're gonna be working with him, shortly in the coming months. We're currently in a position of just kind of finishing up some of the final touches with the mixes. To then we'll go over and we'll talk to him more about that. But yeah,
That's gonna be
man,
awesome, man.
it's been a long journey. Started doing this stuff for me at least. I started really looking into the marketing side of things since like 2016, but I've been doing
Yeah.
Homeric since 2014. I don't know about you, Jason.
Yeah, so the marketing aspect, and real quick, guys, let me briefly tell you what Metal Mastermind is all about, and how this is gonna help you in building your music and building your brand, and a little things about some things you can expect from us. Of course, this is mainly for metal musicians. I think that's evident now that Ken and I have talked about metal so much. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Really, I mean, this pertains really to any musician out there that wants to take it to the next level. And it can be, I know a lot of you watching live right now were with me live on my channel last night, and thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you, guys are awesome supporters. I really appreciate that. But like I explained last night, you know, even if you want to just release a single, or if you want to do a whole album, you just want to take it to that next level. That's what we're here for. The thing is, there's so many components that go into this beyond just recording the music, beyond the mixing, mastering, all that stuff. We're going to talk about those things too and give you tools to help you. But this marketing side of it and promoting and your presence. So some of the things we're going to touch on is the home recording aspect of it, because that's where we record these days, the songwriting, the performance, just metal music in general, helping you promote, helping you build that presence. We're also going to integrate some things in this channel that you might not expect, and that's going to be in the genres of like just giving some wisdom, because Ken and I both, despite our age differences, we've both been in this full fledged for a while. We've experienced a lot of things. So when I say wisdom, what I mean is you're going to learn from our mistakes. So we're
Yeah,
giving you the wisdom. You're going to have the
absolutely.
wisdom that we did not. We're going to touch on some things that also will help you in your performance that's completely relevant, but may not seem relevant, like health and that sort of thing as well. We're going to talk about that because Ken, I know you're into meditation. I lift weights and I'm into yoga. So we've talked about some of this kind of stuff. So, there will be some episodes where we kind of give you some of those tips as well, because whether you believe it or not, that correlates directly into what comes out of you that might have sounded bad. I don't mean number two, but I mean what comes out of you as far as your performance, your energy, and just and your psyche. You know, when you get down
Yeah.
to recording music and writing all that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what you can expect from us, and a whole lot more. I just Ken, if you want to add something, I just tried to put it all in a tiny nutshell there.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, it's all about mind, body, and spirit, and taking it. I'm not particularly religious. Some of you might be, but I've always believed in having the whole mentality. As not just me, but us. And when we're talking about metal as a community, we always think of each other as brethren and or sisters, and we've always supported each other, especially in the pit. Like you're getting in there,
Yes.
somebody falls down, you pick them up, and you keep going. And that's kind of been the mentality of metal for a long time, and we closely are knit together. And a lot of our principles are based on stuff like honesty and truthfulness about how we're feeling emotionally, what we're thinking politically. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on right now in the world, and
Dude,
as
yes. Wow.
metalheads, we always been ones to rise up and stand for what we believe in, and that is very true through and through as an individual of the metal community versus the rest of the world. That's what really separates metal. We have probably the most hardcore fan base in all of music within metal, and that's because of how the culture is, right? So we're going to touch up on stuff like that because sometimes we can get a little carried away at times with when it comes to doing music. Just being as an artist, emotionally sensitive to this type of stuff, we have to make sure that we're also keeping our mental state in check, not giving too much into, other physical pleasures or distractions, focusing, right? How do you focus? That's like one of the biggest things. People have ADD or OCD, and
Dude.
it's just
Yeah.
like sometimes, you get overwhelmed by some of the feelings that your body is telling you, and there are certain ways to kind of help mitigate that in a healthy and kind of keep your keep following your north, right? Keep on track, staying focused, even if it's just a little bit a day towards whatever your dream is, because right, we always, either we're working for somebody else or working on our own stuff. Sometimes, especially for the 99% of Americans that are out there that are working for the bigger man, right?
The
It's like
man, yeah.
we're trying to make a living, but at the same time, you have to make time for what it is that you want to get out of life as well, and that can be hard because we're always with the in the premise of you come home from work and you're tired and you just want to watch like Netflix after a long day, and it's just like
Yeah.
sometimes that can that's good to decompress in that way, but then there's other ways to decompress and still get things done, and trying to work out a sort of routine or ritual
Yeah.
for yourself that will help to further increase the cause of what you're trying to build.
Yeah. Routines are crucial. Um, so, guys, let's jump right into this. What we want to talk to you about today is why social media is not enough. And it sounds like we're going against the grain. We're really not here. But
Right.
the thing is, I'll start out with one of my main mistakes I made in 2013 when I launched my first album. Apocalyptic Dreams. So when I did that, I released it. I got it out there. And then I just told my friends about it and I put links on Facebook. Here's the thing: you don't own the presence on Facebook, you don't own the presence on Instagram or any of those sites. And even if you release your music through, there's these companies, some of you know this, some of you don't. There's these companies like Bandcamp, CD Baby, there's DistroKid and all that. There's these companies that you can go through to release your music. Those are awesome, and we'll get into that deeper in another episode, I promise, because that's something we'll have to touch on later. But you don't own that platform is what I'm saying. So any platform that you do not own, you don't want to rely solely on that. You want to be on those platforms, don't get me wrong. We're not dissing social media. It's a must have these days, but it's nowhere close to being enough. You need something that you own, and that's why Ken and I want to talk to you today about building your own website and we're going to show you some easy ways to do that. It's not an overwhelming thing, but we want to talk to why you need that, and why just the social media is nowhere near enough. And what we want to do is show you some bad examples. Some examples we're going to show you are from like people that are kind of famous, bands that are kind of like, man, they're awesome, and we're going to kind of break down their websites and show you some of the things that they could do better. And then we're going to take you through some good examples of websites, and of course, we'll pick those apart as well. But by the end of this episode, I think what Ken and I give you, you're going to have a really good idea of all you need to do to build your site, to get your presence out there, something you own. And at the end of the video, I want you guys to hang around towards the end, because we're going to give you like the most valuable tip you can possibly have to do this. And we're also going to tell you how to start very fast and very simple. Okay. So Ken, I
Yes.
know we have some, I don't know if you want to jump right into the sites, dude, or if you have anything you want to add to that,
Just as a pointer, I as a little bit of background on my situation here. I've been doing graphic design since I was in high school. That's what I went to high school actually for. I started to do music within high school because I was going in a different direction. But that being said, I've sort of had this eye for visuals, and I've always been able to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. So what Jason and I are going to be like showing you today is from the perspective of somebody who is a professional in doing this sort of thing and somebody who isn't, which we're going to get both feedback. But the idea is we're also going to be looking at from the consumer side, right? Or the guest, whichever you want to call it, visiting the website. How is this website flowing? How can we make it more efficient? And looking at it also as a business perspective, right? What is the best way to get somebody to, for example, buy your music, this sort of thing? This is important. And those two perspectives, I feel like Jason and I, we have a really great grasp, and we went to the same program to learn the same marketing skills. So we're a team here, and we're going to give you that insight. Yeah, let's start. For example, let's do our first
yeah,
victim. Okay.
yeah,
Now
let's do it, man.
we've picked apart already some of these websites before,
Yeah.
and let's just kind of demonstrate what's happening here. So let me go over to my
And real quick, guys, I want to tell you this. And another key thing about owning your own website. Again, this is not difficult. I promise you, it's not near as difficult. But one quick thing is, if you think just posting your single or your album on social media, say, "Hey, listen to my album," guys, nobody cares. Nobody cares. You've got to have.
that
Ken, you and I both
it's
know this,
true,
man,
man.
from loads of experience. So,
So yeah, man, absolutely.
so
So
whose site is this, dude?
let's take a look at this, man. If you guys gotta know this guitarist from Arch Enemy, and he was his
Yeah,
own thing before with Nevermore. Jeff
Nevermore.
Loomis,
Yeah.
man. Jeff Loomis doesn't even have a website right now. It says we're revamping and rebuilding. Thank you for all your support and follow on social media. Okay, I get it, but that's like there are ways to reconstruct a website without having to completely shut down. You can have, if people are doing a different host, you can actually have you can have a hidden page and start redesigning that way, and then slowly implement it. Like a soft turnaround, not a hard turnaround, like what we're seeing over here with Jeff Loomis. With Jeff
Yeah.
Loomis, you know, Jeff Loomis has his own store, right? He's got things he can sell, autographs, postcards, that sort of thing. And how is anybody going to be able to access Jeff Loomis's stuff to help support him, right, in this
They're not
way?
gonna know.
They're not going to know. They're going to see this and going to be like, okay, Facebook and Instagram, I'll like his post. But that's about, all you're really going to be able to do. This is just like not, this is
This is
not,
bad, Ken.
this is bad. This is really bad. So,
Yeah.
you know, I get it, but it's just, there could have been a smarter way to go around this. Let's take our next victim, for example.
And when real quick though, what I would do, what Ken and I would do in this situation, guys, if you've got a homepage and it's just down or whatever, what you could do at least, because Jeff Loomis, yeah, he plays for Arch Enemy, but he also has his own solo albums. You could put links. I would at least put links to Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that. Hey, the site's under construction. maybe put a picture of him so you know it's him. And it's like, you can listen to my music here. Thank you for your support. This
Right.
site will be back up soon. Or even link to Arch Enemy, something. You know what I mean?
That
Not
makes
this.
a great point, because the idea of this sort of thing is, one, when you're building an online presence, you want an email list, right? So you want to
Yes.
be able to communicate with people. And if you're just pointing to Facebook and Instagram, again, you don't own those platforms. Algorithms change. You may not reach the people that you want. You need to have an email list. There's great, options like Mailchimp or Drip, that are out there to do this sort of thing. But there's no link here to even signing up for an email list or even seeing his music. So really good point that you made there, Jason. These are the sort of things that are kind of integral. We call these call to actions, right? So
Yes.
getting
CTAs.
somebody, yeah, getting somebody to click on a certain link and having a certain specific goal for that. Let's take a look at our next victim. Let's take a look at Epica. I love Epica. Epica is a
Epic is awesome, dude.
wonderful, band of musicians. Jesus Christ, I can't even fathom their
Yeah.
awesome compositional aspects in their music. But let's take a look. For example, this looks, by the way, super pro. We love the
Dude, yes.
design of this. But it's also, what is the imagery of Epica trying to portray here? Let's take a look at that. And what we see here, Jason, you actually mentioned before we started talking live, that this was a very commercial looking type of website.
It is, yeah. I
You
mean, and it's kind of, so real quick. It's kind of, that's their audience. So in the metal world,
Yes.
Epica is almost a little bit more commercial than, let's say, bands like, Ex Mortis or Amon Amarth or something like that. They're not commercialized in a sense that they're pop or anything. That's not what we're saying, but they do portray. They want to portray a certain image, a very polished image, because they've got so many band members. They're very orchestrated, so everything needs to look very polished and almost commercial looking here.
Yes.
But they're capturing you with, you know what to expect. In other words, when you think of Epica, you look at the site, it's like, okay, it fits.
Yes. Now, one of the things that I want to point out here, just as a visual color thing, right? Also,
Oh
the
yeah.
proportions of this website, very, very even proportions. And one of the things, right, when you're scrolling down the website, very easy on the eyes. Take a look at the colors that they're using, these dark blues, dark reds, and the text, the important stuff is in white, right? You see the dates on their tour. And then as you keep going down, you have the dimensions of the video fit perfectly within the confines of the margins. And as you go down, just as it strikes you, it's very, very soothing on the eyes. It's not too bright. But when you scroll up, immediately that white banner, that header is totally up there. That's where you got to go when you want to find some information about this stuff.
Yeah.
So I really love that about that. But there is one drawback to this website.
One
Okay?
problem.
Take a look over here on the top left. It says it is not secure. Oh my gosh. For such a professional band to have not a secure website
Yeah.
is bananas to me. Okay. How is this not under some sort of lock and key to make sure that when you buy something, it's not going to be fraudulent? Right.
Right.
So
Yep.
that's the one thing that about this website, why I love the band and they have a great online presence here. They are not valuing the security of your payments. That is horrendous. No, no
And it's such
bueno.
an easy fix too, Ken. That's such your hosting company that you go through. Most hosting companies, and we can recommend some good ones. Most of those hosting companies, though, they have like a free HTTPS, which that's what you want in front of your website. HTTPS. You don't
Yes.
want it without the S on there, right? So that's such an easy fix. And even if your company doesn't do that, your hosting doesn't do that, there are plugins, and that's something we can get into later down the road. But it's just a very easy fix.
Yeah, and yeah, Faceless, you said they need to renew the license. Yeah, absolutely, but it's
Yep. Good
it
point,
takes
Faceless.
one
Yeah.
click to do that. And it's they're either not even doing it, or they don't value it that much, So,
Right.
and it's just one of those things, when you go to a website and you're going to buy something, you want to make sure that, you have a secure payment, and this will not provide that for you here.
Right.
So, great stuff here, but there are some drawbacks that could be a deterrent to having somebody wanting to buy from you. They would probably rather buy from, like, Amazon over, supporting you directly here if that was the
Sure.
case. That could be one deterrent. So it's about minimizing, okay, guys, it's about minimizing the chances of somebody jumping off your page, right? The first thing they're going to see, right? We always say don't judge a book by its cover, but everybody does anyway, right?
We do.
So
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
have to take that into account. The first impression that we're looking at here is that, wow, really professional and stuff. But then when you go to the web shop, it's going to be like, hey, this is not a secure website. Oh, what?
It's
Like,
blatant. It's
yeah,
right
it's
there. Yeah.
blatant right there. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to our next victim. I like calling them
Next
victims.
victim, yes.
Amon
Oh yes,
Amarth,
dude. I'm on a
man.
Marth.
Yeah, I love this stuff, man. Vikings, like,
Oh
they're
my God, yeah.
when I've seen Amon Amarth, man, they're just insane. They got their big boat on stage, and it's just like crazy. The
Yeah,
fog
dude.
machines, they probably spend so much money on just fog machines. It's hilarious. Um,
The theatrics are just crazy, dude. I've seen them live once, and I can't wait till they come back to my area because
oh yeah.
an amazing, amazing band, amazing show.
Now let's take a look here. I really actually like this.
It's cool.
This is blatant, Viking, right? The branding of Amon Amarth is in
Yep.
your face. We know what they're all about. So that is what they've definitely got going for them. What I really like is that as you scroll down, as you can see, Jason, the top, the menu still stays. Really love that
That's
about
awesome.
this. This is a really,
That is
really useful
awesome.
thing because I don't want to have to, like if we're on Epica, right? I go down, now I
It's
can't
gone.
see the menu. I have to go all the way back up or down. And if I'm on a phone, I got to keep swiping up and down. That's not good. But
Right.
here, this, I can assure you, is probably more mobile friendly than the other website that we were just on with Epica, which is a big thing. Everybody's on their phones. You might be probably watching this right now on your phone. So
Yeah,
this
probably so. The thing
this
is,
is
if you make your potential listener, your potential audience, if they have to do too much work or even a little work sometimes, they're on to the next thing. That's the society we live in today. We're so quick to like think about the videos you watch on YouTube and Facebook and all that. Think about how much of the video you actually watch of every single thing you watch. You're usually scrolling right to the next. That's how our minds think. That's how we're kind of programmed with the social media platforms and such. So, if they have to do a lot of work or even a little bit of work on your site to find something, if it's not right there in front of their face and easy to get to, they're probably going to be on to the next thing, and then you just lost a potential listener.
yes, absolutely. What I really like what's really working for them here is their layout.
Hmm.
And watching this, the one of the things that's kind of a little bit weird about seeing a monomarth here is that everything, since it is mobile friendly, sometimes it gets blown out of proportion. So you got to make sure that the PC experience, right? I see Liam, you're watching on the PC. This can look weird on a PC. So you got to not just, I mean, you want to prioritize mobile, but you got to also make sure that when it's on the website for on a computer, it doesn't look all weird. Like right here, I can't even see the full video. The video is like cropped.
Yeah.
I have to. I have. I'm literally scrolling one, two. Like here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like
That's huge,
there's a
man.
whole bunch of like scroll wheels, like
Yeah.
motions that I have to make in order to even go past the video. That's not good. But I do like that
Yeah.
they have a little download feature, although I think that's kind of unnecessary in this aspect.
I don't
This
yeah, I
is
don't
for the
think that's
game.
necessary there because I think it's just taking you to their, I don't know, I mean, but, yeah, I wouldn't want to take people off of my site unless it's taking them to, actually, buy something or something like that,
Well, here's the
but this
thing.
this is an easy fix too, guys. This is real like, the size and these things that we're pointing out here, I know we're kind of breaking these down and it almost seems like we're being super anal about them, but we want to show you guys that, people look at these things, if we're noticing them, then think of everyone else that's noticing them as well.
Right. This is insight. Now, of course, they've got a stuff, they've got a website, they've got a store up, and this is all like true. That they're professionals
Yeah,
doing this stuff for a living. And we're not harping on that. We're actually praising that they've got their own thing going, and we would rather support
that's
that.
awesome.
You
Yeah,
know, but we're also trying to see how can we as indie musicians, right, learn from this stuff and make it even better, right? That's the goal
right.
here. So, um, I love the imagery that they've got going on over here. I like the links that they've put.
Those are nice. Those are really nice.
And here is a big thing: sign up for news and updates. That they've got an email list sign up form right where you can see all the other stuff in relation to buying their stuff, right?
That's
So
huge.
really, really important. And below that, tickets to upcoming events. Love that. Love that. Awesome. Really, really digging this. And we're like just looking at the first page, guys. We're not even like diving into the rest of the website. We're trying to see what is going to capture, because the first page is like that cover, right? You want to make sure that the cover is appetizing to your
That's an
audience,
awesome cover, dude.
you know?
That's such an
So
awesome cover.
let's take a look at our next victim.
Next victim.
Niall.
Nile, dude.
Love
Yes.
Nile, man. One of my favorite bands of all time. I'm really into like Egyptology and all that stuff. I've actually got one of my own songs that's sung in ancient Egyptian. So Nile really
Nice, dude.
resonates with me, man. Like I really have a soft spot for their stuff. But let's
Take a
go
look at
ahead.
that image though, dude. Just look at their picture real quick. And I just want to point out one of the things I like about this, and Ken, I mentioned this to you earlier, is it, it portrays exactly what you expect from Nile. It's not super polished. It's a nice picture. It's a very nice image and it's very well done, but it's not super over the top polished. This is not commercial music by any means. This is just the band right here. It's just them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's very much Nile. It's what you would expect from Nile. So they're pulling in that audience that expects certain things from them, and they're giving it to them.
It screams authenticity. This is who
Yes,
they are. We're not anything extravagant here. We're trying to just show you we're people,
love that.
right? And we're part of the metal community. We're brothers, we're sisters. This is what it's about. But it's presented in a professional manner, right? And you can see that just by looking at the website itself. I love the backdrop, at the gates of See-Through. If you guys are into that album, that's one of my favorite Nile albums. And you see that, and right there is the tour dates. That's what they're prioritizing here. They're prioritizing
Yeah.
tours. And to be honest, though, right now, this is probably not the first thing that you may want to see, because tour dates have
That's
been
a good point.
canceled since till like 2021. So nobody's
Yeah.
buying tickets right now. So there's another thing that you gotta see. I love Nile, but this is the first thing that I see, and I have to look elsewhere to find the store, right? I don't
Yeah.
see a way to support Nile off the bat, right? I have to actually look. Coming soon. There's no store.
Oh, there's no store,
Oh
dude.
my
Wow.
God. How
I
can
would
this
think they're
be?
linked to like I don't know what's that thing. I get emails from them almost every day, like Night Wishes on there. They're always advertising shirts and merch and stuff. But I would think they'll at least link to that. But you have a good point though, Ken. And right now people aren't really concerned about tours, so you don't want that be the first thing you see. Most people, we're digging into this for you guys too. We want you to see it, but most people will click on the site, go to tour dates, like, okay, it's not what I'm looking for. They're not really going to search the site. Some people will, but most people aren't really going to search around people don't like to dig. Again, if you don't give it to them right there in front of their face where it's easy to access, they're on to the next thing. That's how most people are wired these days.
Check it out, man. Look at the bottom. This is where I could see their only Spotify link.
Wow, dude. Wow. That should be
This
at the top somewhere,
this
man. That should be at
tiny
the
little
top.
button all the way at the bottom of the page is how you can
Yeah.
find their music right off the bat,
Crazy.
other than here, Yeah. So the branding, love the branding, right? But the
Awesome, yeah.
efficiency of this website is crap. It's just uh,
It really
you
is.
know, it's really the disparity between the two is just kind of obvious here, and it's sad because I love this band so much. I want to praise what they're doing, but man,
Yeah.
dude, guys, you gotta get on on the horse and like ride with this thing. Okay, we gotta make our
Put in some
stuff
work.
efficient for the masses online. That is honestly where the audience is, right? It's almost like
Yeah.
the point of saying, oh, why don't we tour and find, our audience that way? Well, yeah, because touring is expensive. You gotta
Super
you
expensive.
gotta come up with all the money, right? Especially if you're an indie artist. You're not gonna make the same presence on tour as you are with the amount of money that you could put that towards online. So that's where your priority has to be. Why don't you try to find your fan base online first and then tour where they are, right? That
Yeah.
would be the way to tour. So let's move on. Let's check out our next victim.
Who's our
And
next one, dude? Oh,
Nightwish. All
this
right.
is one of my absolute favorite bands, dude. Although
Oh,
I'm having trouble getting to their latest album, and the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me. But I absolutely love Nightwish.
yeah, man. Ever since Tarja, I've always loved Tarja's voice, and then
Yes, yeah,
we've heard Annette on this album, and now we have Floor. Nightwish is just one of those premier professional bands, and this does scream commercial at us, but
it does.
not
Yeah,
to the same extent as it did with Epica. Now, here's one
right.
thing I don't like about the website already. I scroll down, no more menu. Hate that,
Uh,
right?
yeah, that's not
See,
cool, dude. That's
I'm
not
I'm
cool.
in the middle. I'm all the way down here. I'm just like, I gotta find the menu. Where's the menu? I don't even see any links down here that are very clear to tell me where to go. I have to go
Yeah,
all the way back up to the top, right? So things like that, little details matter. But what I do like is that the first thing you see is a nice presentation of the album that they've got going on with the track listing, uh,
that's cool.
and you can see what's in it, and you can also click on lyrics, right? That's kind of cool. And then right now we see an order now button right there that has a little bit of a highlight. And what I notice about Nightwish as I scrolled through this, okay, is that their stuff is a little bit more subdued with the color and presence of what's important here. And that's a negative in my book because it's like it's not very clear as to where the person needs to go, right? Yeah, I see
Yeah,
the streaming, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Deezer. That's all cool, but this looks like it's more of a priority than getting to order now on the website from Nightwish themselves. Like this should be blatant, like either in full on white, like click this button, like click here,
yeah.
This is something that you gotta, use for that sort of attention. Let's go on, keep
I
going,
do like the
scrolling.
background. I do like how they themed their website, their homepage here, the same theme as the album. What that means, that's more work involved because that means every time you put out a new album, you're going to have to change that, of course, which is fine.
Yeah,
That's okay. But I do like the way they did that. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of busy. I'm not like really sure. There's almost too many places to click, and that's another thing we want to tell you guys is. Uh, the less call to actions you have on your site or anything that you're trying to do, the better. Because if you give people too many options, oftentimes they won't choose any of them.
that's
And we often think
so
that we want
true.
everything out there,
So
but if you
true.
give people too many options, then it's almost like you might not get any at all.
Yeah, that's such a great point, brother. Yeah, look at all these links. I don't know
There's
which
a
one to
lot.
choose. We have
Yeah.
2 YouTube links, 2 Apple Music links, 2 Spotify links in the
Yeah.
same vicinity. So it's like, which one? Like, give me
Now,
one,
here's
okay?
what I would do in this case, and this is just, and actually, I need to go back and change my site now after seeing this and talking through this because I've kind of got the same thing on my own page. But one of the things I would do is I would say, what's your priority? So the priority is that first album. Hey, click here to buy the CD, and maybe have another button below that. Click here to stream and listen on other sources, and then that button can open up another page where you have all those options, but
Exactly.
not on that homepage.
Yeah,
Does that
you
make
wanna
sense?
you wanna open the door that makes it inviting, right? That's the mentality here. Let's just, hey, welcome in. let me shake your hand. Let me not just push everything in your face, right? Like,
here you go.
you know, when somebody's in your face and they keep like, yo, hey, you're just kind of like, yo, back off, man. Like, this is not inviting for me. You want to shake their hand first, you know. You don't want to make a sale without doing that in you know, first. But what I do love about this though is the consistency of the imagery, like you said. The colors also are easy on the eyes. That is a very intentional thing that they've done here. And look at the bottom, we see our, wow, look at this list. Oh my God, how much do I really need to see? Are they trying to impress me here? So it's just like so much, but it's at the bottom of the World Tour. That's fine. Okay, I get it. Yeah, you know, we'll leave the tour towards the bottom. That's not the biggest priority right now. The priority is selling the music. But there needs to be a couple of different changes here to make that more efficient. There's too much going on with the Nightwish website.
Too soon.
Right. But here's another pro. This is a protected website. So when you do go and you buy from this website, right, it's a secure website. You have that comfort of knowing that this is going to be a safe purchase. All right.
Another thing about that HTTPS real quick is, this is something we'll get into later, guys, because you know this is completely different topic. But a lot of band sites like Nightwish, for example, a lot of them, if you go to the shop link or the merch link, a lot of times that will actually open up to a different website. Many bands and artists nowadays are making their shops separate, and there's some reasons for that. And again, we'll get into that in another episode. But even if the shop is another site, even if that's linking to another site to go to the actual shop, or the shop might be hosted, the fact that they don't have a secure link is going to throw everybody off. If it's not secure, I don't care where that shop button goes, whether it goes to a secure site or not. I'm not going to click that link because the site's not secure. You know what I mean? So I just want to reiterate the importance of that very simple change.
Totally. Yeah, very good point there. Let's check out our next victim and our final victim here. We're going to take a look at Mastodon. Okay.
Mastodon, dude.
Yeah, I love Mastodon, man. They, you know, especially from the early days. You know, I've been a fan. I loved Crack the Sky, and I love everything from before then. You know, oh my God, Leviathan, one of the best albums I think ever made. But let's check it out, right?
That's some cool imagery there, dude.
This is pretty cool, man. And I gotta say, like,
it's pretty awesome.
I love it. One of the things that I'd be concerned about this is how quickly it would load for somebody on a mobile page. Because there is some animation going on, and that tends to require a longer loading time. But if they've done their homework on this, you know, they could actually make it a little bit more efficient on that side. But it would mean reducing the image quality of that in order to make it work smoother. However,
I've got to say those pop-ups, I'm not a big fan of this, Ken, this thing you see on the left side here. And the reason I'm not a fan of that, first of all, it does slow down the site. But secondly, they almost look like Google ads. You know, when you go to a site and it's got these ads flashing up, what I see not flashing, but it changes every few seconds here. This thing here, it'll change now to the other screen there, the exclusive bonus. That at first, when I first looked at that, when we first pulled the site up, it looked like a Google ad. This right here looks like a Google ad.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I would put that on there.
Yeah, I totally agree that. And it's also like it moves too fast for me to internalize what am I seeing.
Yeah.
Like the moment I'm looking at, you know, oh, check out our merch and stuff like that, and I want to look more closely at what those pieces are, it goes to the next thing. It's like, okay, bonus color in vinyl jacket only on Mastodon Rocks. What the hell? I didn't even get to click the link.
What is that?
And now I got to wait
remember,
for
guys,
this to recycle.
We want one call to action, right? We want just one call to action. You're trying to get people to do like too many different things here. And I'm not going to click any of them because, like Ken said, you know, they're going by too fast. And, you know, give people your core. What's the one thing you want them to do above everything else? Then put it right there.
Right. You know, so let's keep going down. Like the pop-up on your site, Jason.
See, I have some changes to make.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, we're not saying, by the way, guys, at all that we're perfect. We still have a little bit of work to do, but we're going to tell you how to find where to get that stuff, right? But here's a cool thing. I like that they've got, you know, a little play button to actually hear on their website the music straight away. This is
That's
cool.
pretty cool, dude.
This is
Yeah.
actually working, because then you could hear it and then you can buy it right there. And they even have options here, download on iTunes and stuff like that. Stereo Boutique.
That's really
Whoa.
cool, man.
Wonder what
Yeah.
that is.
I
Buy
like
from a
that.
local store, right? So you have the option here that you can support them that way, or you can check
Yeah.
out what is Stereo Boutique. Like that.
Yeah. What is that?
Kind of a little bit of
A
a
mystique there, dude.
yeah, little mystique from a boutique.
Yeah, dude. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but it does kind of like, you're curious. I'm like, hey, what is that? Probably gonna click on that.
Yeah, and a little bit of that is you don't want to get too creative with the wording because then it could just confuse somebody. But stereo boutique, people would maybe associate that more with like a deluxe bundle.
Yeah.
So we can tell from that vibe. But let's continue going here. We see news. Okay, that's cool. Love to stay up to date.
cool.
What I would love to see more of. Wow, this is a big news thing. Jesus Christ.
That's a lot of news,
That's
dude. And it's
oh
still
my God.
going.
You see that? Did you see that? Look, loading next set of news.
Loading next.
And I can't even
It's
like
good
continue.
they have that. Yeah, it's actually good they have that because if the site tried to load all that stuff at one time, it would probably never load.
Yeah,
So,
but check this out. If I had anything below here, like I can't even get to where it
you're
says
screwed.
It's screwed.
yeah, you're hosed.
But
Yeah.
and one thing that I wish that they did is wow, god dang. Before the news even came, I see that there's a pop-up here to get an email list, but that should not be just a pop-up. That should just be right there, right beneath the music saying, hey, click, subscribe here to get information with us, et cetera, et cetera. And you can stay up to date. Have a physical thing where you can do that over here. Other than just news. Yeah, we like news, but there could be more information than that. And I don't even see anything touring wise here, other than like clicking on the tour. So that's another thing. Like if you're a touring band, like Mastodon is. Oh, here we go. Find out when Mastodon is playing you. Okay, they do have that. Okay, great.
Okay,
But
good.
I just glossed over that. I didn't even like notice
Well,
that.
the reason why though, Ken, is but I think it has a lot to do with that thing on the left side, this little pop-up thing here. Your eyes are focused on this little screen that changes every 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like nothing else matters. That's great, but again, there's just too many things to do here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do I want to do?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, very true though. Very true. This could have been this should have been a little bit more drastic of a change, right?
Yeah.
To really point out this difference. Like the subscribe button is the same color as the backdrop. Maybe if it was like a green or something that was like, strikingly different to
Gotta make it stand out.
Yeah, make it stand out. That would have been a little bit more easier. Now, let's see here. We've discussed. Now let's take a look at what our own websites are doing, and let's kind of do some constructive criticism on this, Jason. You ready, brother?
Going through this exercise, I've us going through this, Ken and I have been working on this for this whole week, and just going through all these things. We've like both of us have learned a lot, and I think we both agree. I know I do at least. I need to go back and make several changes to mine because when you start diving deep and looking at things, it's like, man, okay, I see this problem, and oftentimes you don't see it. You don't see the forest from the trees type of thing. When you're working on your own stuff, it's like, okay, I'm doing this, it looks cool, blah blah blah. But then it takes stepping back and kind of doing some analysis like we're doing now, especially with other sites. Then you take notes like, okay, well, now I see what these sites are doing. I think my site's doing the same thing. You see things you need to fix. It's a
Right.
never-ending process.
And let's take a look. We'll pick you as our next victim, Jason.
Here we go, dude. I'm the victim, dude.
But let's check it out. Okay, right off the bat, it's a simpler website than the other ones, and that's going to be a thing that sets us apart from a lot of the professional websites out there is the design aspect of all this stuff. But we actually have resources. We're going to point you to those resources in just a minute, where you can find how you can get other people to help design your stuff for actually a really reasonable cost, without paying like thousands of dollars. And it's expensive to do this stuff if you went to like a professional for this. But let's check it out. Join my metal family. Love this, that you have this sort of aspect of being a part of a community. And join now, and I'll send you 3 free metal songs. Join now might be, you know, the different wording might kind of be a little bit weird here, brother. I would almost just have a form like for your email.
Right
Just
there.
put your
Okay.
email in here and then click subscribe or something like that.
Simplify it.
You know,
Okay.
simplify it, but make it so that they don't have to go to another page to do that. This would actually make it a lot easier. They see it right there. Oh yeah, sure. 3 free metal songs. Easy to type in your stuff, and then you click join. That would be a really great way to do that. And now we have immediately to the album, which I love that you have a playlist where you can listen to the music. You have the artwork that matches the playlist. Looks great, and it has a follow button for Spotify. And on more sources below, you can see that. Although I would say just have this information maybe a little bit more condensed. Maybe have a different sort of color about what you want to prioritize. Like the follow button here, if you're prioritizing Spotify, make that a different color
Gotcha.
rather than
Yeah,
over
that makes
here.
sense.
Here, this could be a little bit more like, instead of like these big buttons, make it just like simple links, right? You know, just like either have like maybe you can even have it just the icons. Okay, so you have the follow button for Spotify, but maybe you just have the icons for Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, Get the CD right underneath the follow button over here. You can even get the CD. You should put that right underneath the follow button, and then have the other images just kind of underneath, kind of say, hey, these are other links that you can click to.
Now, I will say this about the CD. So, some of you may be wondering, why do I put the CD last? And that's because I ship my CDs out of the US. So, pretty much only US people are going to order that. So, I don't prioritize the CD. I know to ship in the UK. I did have someone from Germany. They paid way more for shipping than the CD cost, but I was appreciative. But yeah, so that's why I don't prioritize the CD. If you're in the US, it's awesome. Shipping CDs is cheap, but to
Right.
elsewhere, not so much.
Yeah, and if not just a CD, maybe it's just like merch store or something of that
Yeah.
sort, and you
Yeah.
can really just see that instead. Um, and what I love about this, brother, is that you are more than just a metal musician. You are actually an author, and having this under the metal community is such an impressive thing. I gotta say, man, not a lot of people write books. you know,
True.
there may be many authors out there, but publishing your own stuff, that's a rare thing. And rather than going to, let's say, Penguin Random House to get this stuff done, like, you did it yourself, you put it on Amazon, and people can support you that way. Really, really love that. So it makes you stand out in that regard. um, Guitar tutorials, recording tips, and more. Yep, love this because this is like your culture. I love the picture of the iPad.
Yeah.
And you can just, follow. You can see from this that Jason is a YouTuber. Love that. And people love YouTubers nowadays. Very, very welcoming to that sort of community where you can really just follow Jason to become part of that, part of that community. And then we have posts here. Although I would change maybe post, or maybe make like blog posts, so that, because people love to read blogs, and just saying posts might be just a little bit vague.
That
So
makes sense.
like
Yeah.
just like a blog or something like that would make it a little bit more apparent that this is something that you regularly update, which is key. Which I want to point out that Faceless mentioned. Yeah, Mastodon has news that's like 15 years old.
Yeah, it's 15 years old,
Like,
dude.
look, I just scroll down to a little bit, and here we're seeing 2017, 2015. Nobody needs to see all that news, right? That's way too excessive. So here we have 6 articles of the most recent stuff. Very, very cool. And then we got reviews from fans, which, by the way, as an indie artist, is just like super integral, because you want to have some sort of validation from the community to present. And this is awesome. This really helps getting the message across that, your stuff is not just, crap. It's got people who really actually appreciate it and like it and support it. Which is important. And what I love about the end of this slide here, brother, is you got a very genuine photo of just you with your guitar. You're calm, you're collected, And my ultimate goal is to bring you quality metal music that doesn't sound like everything else out there. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's me. That's cute.
Yeah.
So, very
It's a little
cool.
Beavis and Butthead type thing, you know?
Right. Doing really, really good here. I really like that. Yeah, just a little bit on the design aspect should be a little bit more developed, but we're gonna, again, guys, we're gonna point you in a direction where you can find this stuff online and get it working for your brand. Let's go ahead to my website here too. This is Homeric.
Homeric.
Homeric. Now, I actually, when it comes to the design aspect, I've been working with an artist since 2018 on my latest album. My latest album is about Dante's Inferno, and we're doing a series of paintings. So the quality of the art on this is going to be a little bit more, but I've also spent a lot more on making that happen over the course of time. And
This is awesome artwork, by the way.
thanks, brother.
This is beautiful artwork, dude. I love it.
But yeah, I don't want it to deter anybody because this has been in the works for a long time. And I would strongly urge people to come up with the mindset that you don't have to release something every month, right? You can
Right, yeah.
bake something in the oven rather than the microwave, right? Make it work over the long course of time and release it when it's ready to be released. You would rather have a quality product that will stand the test of time rather than having something that's going to just, one hit wonder. I would rather have a great album rather than just a hit single. Hit singles, they can help, but I don't have the turnaround to make that happen on a constant basis. I have a job, right? I teach at School of Audio Engineering, SAE Institute, and this is, something that I do for a living. I have to make sure that my students are getting the education that they that they need. But this took a long time.
You're in it for the long haul. If you scroll back up though, Ken, one of the things I would maybe do a little bit differently because I'm having a hard time reading that first line there above cinematic metal and the button, and it's probably I don't know, maybe it's a little bit bigger on mobile device, but I don't want to detour people from the artwork because it's so awesome. But if you had like a little black faded box that
That's a great point.
showed the image behind it, but something that kind of made that call to action there stick out just a little bit more. You know what I
You
mean?
make a great point. Yeah, it should have some sort of like translucent type of black box
Yes,
so that it
yes.
could
Yeah,
not completely
absolutely.
hide the artwork, but it could
Right.
point out the text that's important. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Even as a graphic artist here, guys, I'm going to be missing stuff too. So let's.
Well, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this for all of you guys. So we're showing you things and we're learning too. Even though Ken and I have been doing this for a while, Ken, I know you're in the same boat. We learn new stuff every single day. You know what I mean? Like I wake up some days and I feel like I'm just starting some days. You know what I mean? So you always have to be open to learning and improving.
Right, absolutely. This one is a little bit easier to see. This is a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
One of the things that I try to do with my website, and I don't know if it's working, you guys can tell me, but the cinematic aspect of my music, I try to emulate that experience on my website. So as you're going through the website, it feels more like a journey, not just like I'm selling you something.
I like how this image move, or I like how the image is somewhat stagnant. You know what I mean? How
Yes, this
that's really
is
cool. I do like that.
this is what we call a parallax effect, where you can actually have a sort of disparity between the motion of the text versus the motion of the image behind it. You guys probably have this on your own phones when you have a backdrop that just kind of slightly moves as you turn your phone around. This is that effect on a website. And the first thing that we come to is, the first album that I created with Homeric. I have a couple of, what would you call reviews that people have stated. I've also, for when I did Homeric, I did a PR campaign out in the UK, and I've got a couple of that information pasted here from Steve Goldby, from Metal Talk, Circle Pit from the USA, if anybody's into that, and Stuart Wayne from Pure Grain Audio from Canada, a couple of radio shows, and a couple of reviews from Facebook. So if you are, one of the big things that I would, highly encourage you guys to do is that when you're going to release your music, think about the timeline of releasing your music along with a PR campaign. Don't just say, oh, it's just going to be, this, and you're going to just put it out there. Like, you want to prepare, you want to have
Yeah.
a runway
You
for
have
your
to
stuff.
prepare, guys. Yeah.
So this will be, part of that journey, to make that happen. And you can use that information for the pre-release to market towards your stuff, which is really, really helpful here. Pictures of some bandmates here that have been on the album. And of course, then after that, we get into the Homeric market.
There's your merch there. Cool.
Yeah, photos. Try to take some photos that are, good quality with like a DSLR. If you don't got a DSLR or something, have a friend, kind of help join you. But all we did, this was in a basement, all I took was like some fabric to put behind to make a black backdrop. Had a couple little props, this is like from Home Depot, or, Michael's art store. And you just kind of get a couple things together and kind of make a little presentation here. And I got a little more of a Halloween vibe. And that's because when I released this album, it was on Halloween. So that imagery is kind of reflected of that. But, one thing I even noticed with my own website, brother, is that it's a lot of scrolling. There is a lot of
There's a lot
scrolling.
of scrolling. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even, I have a lot of imagery here, and I got to cut
Yeah.
down on some of this imagery because it's too long. It's too long. People are not going to get to this point.
Yeah.
People have too short of an attention span. So, and look at all this text. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
too
lot of
much.
text. And it's hard to read. The thing about, like, we're metalheads, so we love black. Black just works. And most all of us, probably 80% of our t-shirts in the closet are black. But one of the problems with black websites is the text is kind of hard to read. Homepage maybe still different, but if you're going to have a lot of text, you might want to consider a white background for that part of the site. Like
Right.
my blog posts, for example, those are not black. Those are not black backgrounds. They're simple, plain, easy to read white backgrounds and black text, so it's easy to read. So that's just another little tip there for everyone, when it comes to if you have a lot of text, because it's really hard to read white text on black background.
Now, yeah, absolutely, brother. Really great point. Uh, I want to just now let's go on to the whole resources aspect to all of this stuff. Where can you find, because actually, if you look at the first album that I've created, this artwork, man, I
Yeah.
got this artwork for $40. $40, man. And I'll tell you where I did it.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
fiverr.com. Okay, guys, this is a place where you can get your stuff made. Go to
Really good
fiverr.com.
source.
Really
Yeah.
great source, and it's been, approved over the course of time. People have been using this more and more. And there is
Yeah.
a sort of like tier system where you can either get a very, very professional, higher priced person, or you can get somebody who's just like an independent artist just trying to do more artwork, and they're willing to do it at a cheaper price. I went to graphic design, and you can see all the different types of stuff here, from flyers to posters, book design, storyboards, web and mobile design. Look, let's go to web and mobile design, for example, and we can see graphic user interface, right? Oh, yeah, you can join Fiverr. Very good. Icons and buttons, wireframe, UX. And you can just try and look for people who might be able to help you in just designing your site. This is really,
Yeah.
really useful for this sort of thing. Some people start at $50. Some people start at $500. Some people start at $10. Okay,
Yeah.
really, really flexible here, and you can put in your budget. What's your budget? The seller details. Do you want them to be a new seller, a top-rated seller, anything in between? What the seller speaks, the kind of language. Um, you know, you'll have all the flexibility, and you can even put in what you want out of it. I want a PNG file, a PDF, a JPEG, this sort of stuff. And if you're unfamiliar with the formatting of this stuff, most of the time, the website will tell you, oh, you need this sort of file in order to upload it correctly, and you can put that information, telling the graphic designer, hey, this is what I need, this is what the website is asking for, and they'll
Yeah.
fulfill that requirement. So you get a lot of use out of this stuff in that way. Another one to really check out, guys, is a place called Upwork. Upwork is another freelancing website. It's essentially the same thing as Fiverr. It's just another resource.
Yeah.
Highly recommend this sort of stuff to you.
Another thing you guys can do too, these resources are awesome, but you chances are you may actually know someone. Like if you just put something out there on your Facebook, if you've got a lot of friends on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, and just ask like, hey, does anybody do artwork or does anybody know anyone that does artwork? And chances are there might be somebody on there that you could work directly with, that way as well. So that's just another option. There's the thing that Ken and I want to portray here is there are many, many options. Don't let that be something that stops you
Right.
from getting good artwork done.
Uh,
Web design too. Web design,
yeah,
you can do that, the same thing. So,
totally, brother. We got a question here. Should you copyright your graphic image? Yeah,
hmm,
there's actually two things to that. One thing that I would really make sure that is trademarked is your logo. Okay, the logo is important to trademark. As far as copywriting images, it depends on the content. For example, like the Homeric stuff that I was doing with all the paintings, yeah, I'm gonna copyright that.
yeah, you do want to copyright
But
that, yeah.
because that's like a big commission that I've done. But like little
Mhm.
tiny things, you don't need to worry about that. It's
And when you
main
put someone an album anyway, it's published. You know what I mean? Like if you have artwork and you put it out there, it's published on your album. It's easy to tell that it's yours. And
right,
there's a digital timestamp and all that. So yeah,
right. So that's important for that aspect. But yeah, it's just major things. Yes, that is more important for copywriting.
yeah,
But like little things like button designs and stuff like that, you don't need to worry about that sort of
yeah.
thing. That's a really good question. If you guys have any more questions, just send them our way, man.
Yeah,
But this is like a really juicy episode, brother. I'm like really loving what we've just
this is
talked
good,
about.
dude. Yeah. Do you want to open it up? I know we've been going. We had initially planned for these to be an hour long, so we've been going a little bit over that. But if we want to open it up to any questions that you guys have, if you guys have any questions about what we've been talking about, and one thing I'll say real quick though is to get started, you don't really need to worry about a full blown website. You can have just a simple homepage and about page. That's all you need. And if you've got music published out there on Spotify, iTunes, you can just include those links on your homepage as the first call to action.
Yeah.
We talked about collecting emails. That's definitely going to be for an entirely different episode because that will be probably an episode, maybe even two on their own, and we plan to even go in more in depth in what we've talked about today because there's more to it. But for just getting started, and if you
Yes.
had a little bit of funds, you could hire somebody to make your homepage. If you're a solo artist, you can see if you're first of all see if your name.com is available. I mean, fortunately jasonstallworth.com was available, so I snagged it many years ago. But what I'm saying is you just get started somewhere, even if it's just one homepage and that's all you have. And he's like, here's a link to my Spotify, more info coming soon. Give them something to have that has substance, and just build it, put it out there and just build it as you go.
Yeah, that's really important. If you can't have like a full blown website going, have the
Yeah.
most important details accessible.
Yeah.
That's where you want people, where you want them to find the music, where you want them to, you know, sign up for your email list. Again, that's one of the biggest things. You want an email list because an email list you own. You have that information and you can take that with you from place to place. If Facebook goes down, you lose all your followers. If YouTube goes down, you lose all your followers. So this is
Yeah.
the sort of thing that you want to keep in mind. So we got a new question here from
Yeah.
DW.
DW.
Probably
Yeah.
not related, but is it better to release EP on website and wait until full album to be released on Spotify? Basically, gather a following and build from there. That's a great question. Jason, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so DW, you're saying release a full EP on website and wait for full album to be released on Spotify. If you're if those songs are going to be part of an album, um, and when you say release on website, what I'm assuming you mean is you're not putting that EP out there on sources like Spotify, iTunes, and all that. If you were going to do that, do an EP first, I would go ahead and release it on those platforms. You know what I mean? And then do another album later down the road. That's fine. So if your question is say do an EP first, then an album, That's fine. That's fine. Um, Faceless, you're bringing up a good point as well. Releasing a single song might be a better way to go at first. For especially if you're unknown. I didn't go that route. I put a full album out first, and I think you did as well.
Yeah.
But I would be real careful though. Like I'm not a big fan of putting stuff. I know a lot of musicians put stuff on SoundCloud and these other sources where you can just hear it, or even on YouTube. If you have stuff that you're going to professionally release, I don't know that I'd put that out there on those sources. You know what I mean? I just because then I mean, people probably aren't going to steal your music or anything like that, but I would wait, and like, let's say you're working on an album, but you want to give people a teaser. You could do a teaser, maybe a quick YouTube video, something like that. Or if you want to put like a part of one file on SoundCloud or something like that, just to give people a teaser, hey, this is what's coming. You guys see me doing that on Facebook and Instagram. Sometimes I'll throw something out there. I think yesterday, past couple of days, so that's fine. But uh, you know, I would go with a single first. That's what we talked about in on my channel last night in the live session, and most of I think everybody on here pretty much is on that session. You can go with a single most, because that's the thing about doing a single first, is that's easily attainable. Whereas if you're thinking full album and you're a solo artist, that can be overwhelming. And I don't want you guys to get to so overwhelmed to the point that you don't do anything. And that happens sometimes. It
Yeah.
happens. You're like, well, crap, I got to do this and that. I got 12 songs, and then it just nothing happens.
I actually love that because, and one of the things that I did, and I always thought of it this way when I made Homeric ever since I released it, um, that my first album was going to be an unknown album for the most part. I
Mhm.
did a lot of marketing for it and I generated traffic to get to it, but I always knew that that album was going to be something that was a sort of an experiment. And it was going to be the runway that was going to lead up to my second album, which is a much more anticipated album in cahoots with that one, right? So,
Yeah.
um, trying to think of it that way, I also did have like three singles, but I used that as part of my marketing strategy to have people, they would get that for free, but they would
I love
also
that.
sign up for the email list. And then I wanted my first album to be as accessible as possible. So if you guys are releasing, like, for example, your first album, you want it to be as accessible as possible so that whatever
Mhm.
releases down the road you're going to do, people have a reference and can easily access that first one so that they can see what you're all about. And that could be used towards that strategy for the second one that you're doing, right? We're playing the long-term
Yeah.
game here. This is not just, oh, I'm going
Absolutely.
to get, rich quick. If you're going the indie route, you're playing for the long haul. It's
Yeah.
not like a recording label, a record label. It's going to take work and it's going to take
It takes time.
time.
Yeah.
So, but it's not all this at once, right? We don't have like a team of 100 people working at this at the same time. So we just got ourselves and we can do it. Just give yourself a little bit more time. Don't let the anxiety like take over you. And that's something I've learned too. And also working about, and this could be a topic for another video, but like the people that you surround yourself with too, and how
It's
that's going
hugely
to
important.
affect your
Yeah.
performance into really making this product or productivity happen for you. Let's see. This very little to none. Yes, people don't have a big attention span. So that's one of the big reasons why we're mentioning in these, websites, all the little things that would be distracting for somebody, right? Having too many options means no clicks at all, right? So the more options you
Yes.
give, the
Absolutely.
less likely they're going to click on something. The less options you
Yeah.
give, the more likely they're going to check it out.
If you
So
can give them one, that's even better. If you can, as soon as they open your page, if you can have that one CTA, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around this too, because I'm like, well, but I'm on here. I want them to sign up for my email. I want them to listen to me on Spotify. I want them to buy a CD. I want them to buy my book. I want them to watch me on YouTube. I want
yeah,
them to watch this video. Naturally, as artists, because we put so much time into these things, we want to put it all out there. But if you give them one call to action, get them hooked on that one call to action, then you can take them on a journey after
yeah.
that. And I don't mean Journey the band, but hey, that I'm sorry. So you can, but you can take them on the journey thereafter. You know what I mean? You can send, because you don't want to just like throw up in their face. "Blah, here's everything. Give them that one call to action, get them into your world, and then take them on that journey gracefully, and they will naturally be looking for more stuff from you. They'll be like knocking down your door. It's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah,
You
hitting
know,
the nail right on
but
the head there, brother.
lead them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. But I think that really wraps it up for today, man. I think this is awesome. Oh, I'm speaking through a shotgun mic. Now I can get into the whole audio thing. Also, another video when we're going to talk more about home recording. I
okay,
appreciate that. I work hard to make good content with audio as an audio engineer myself. But this is something that we'll expand on further. But as far
sure,
as
definitely.
the subject of what we're talking about today, guys, thanks so much for like
Yeah,
joining
thank you.
us. This has been such an awesome experience, an awesome first episode. I think this was just fantastic. You can expect next week, same time, same place, Wednesday, 12 p.m. We'll be live again. And we will have more content to share, more juicy stuff that you can get, your brain wrapped around. And we'll start, having more feedback and answering questions as to what you guys have. Just be sure to stay tuned to that, and we'll see you on the next one,
Yeah,
guys.
one quick thing, guys. Please like this video. That
Yes, please.
helps the YouTube algorithm, which I won't even pretend to understand. I think aliens created the algorithm, but please like our video here. Please hit that like button. We'd really appreciate that. And you can take this link after you like it. You can click that share button and copy the link, and then post that on your Facebook, your social media. Even email it to people that are musicians that you know. Please help us spread the word. We really want to help as many musicians as possible. We want to grow this thing, and you guys are going to get just a buttload of value out of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And if we're not giving you value, let us know. We'll make sure we do. Okay.
All right.
But no, I have, I have the utmost, confidence that you guys are going to get a lot out of this, and you are going to make some really big strides that you didn't think that were possible in your music. And some of you maybe haven't even considered releasing anything, and now going after listening to Ken and I, you're gonna be like, well, crap, I'm gonna put something out there now. So please share this. Please like the video, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel and ding that little bell. Those things are important. So
Guys, this is the Metal Mastermind, man. Let's
that it is.
work as a collective and do this thing together.
Yes.
All right. We will see you guys on the next one.
Yes.
So,
Thank you so much, guys.
ciao.
Ciao, guys.